I died on Christmas morning, choking on my own blood as the ornaments shattered around me like brittle promises. My husband, God, I can still taste the bile of that word, watched from the doorway, his face a mask of feigned shock while the life leaked out of me onto the kitchen floor. And just like that, the world went black, the carols on the radio fading into a mocking dirge, until I woke up gasping in my own bed. 3 years earlier. The alarm clock blinking December 24th like a second chance wrapped in razor wire. It hit me like a freight train through the skull, the silk sheets tangled around my legs, the faint scent of pine from the tree we'd decorated last night, and Mark's arm slung possessively over my waist, his breath warm and steady against my neck. I was 32 again, not the broken 40-year-old who'd trusted him one too many times. My heart hammered so hard I thought it would burst through my ribs. But I didn't scream. No. Screaming was for the old Lucia, the one who'd built a life on sandcastles of his lies. This time, I'd play the game. I'd smile through the eggnog and plot in the quiet hours. Because revenge isn't served cold, it's served with a cherry on top, dripping with the sweetness of what they stole from you. That first morning back, I lay there staring at the ceiling fan, its lazy spin a countdown to the hell I'd already lived through. Mark stirred, mumbling something about brunch at his mother's, and I forced a laugh, light and airy, like nothing had changed. "Sounds perfect, babe," I said, rolling over to kiss his cheek, my lips curling into what felt like a snarl beneath the affection. But inside, the memories clawed at me, the affair with his partner at the firm, the forged documents siphoning our savings into offshore accounts, the accident he'd staged with a faulty space heater that turned our holiday into my funeral pyre. He'd gotten away with it all: insurance payout, the house, even custody of our dog. For Christ's sake. This time, though, I'd make sure he unwrapped the real gift, the truth. Gift wrapped in every betrayal he'd sown. We drove to his parents' place in the Hamptons that afternoon, the Long Island Expressway a blur of gray skies and salt-streaked windows. Mark cranked up the radio, some pop remix of Jingle Bells that made my teeth grind, and rambled about his big promotion at the law firm. "It's gonna change everything. Luce. Private jet to the Caymans next summer. Maybe even that vineyard in Napa you've always wanted." He squeezed my thigh, his wedding ring glinting like a lie under the dashboard lights. I nodded, murmuring agreements. But my mind was elsewhere, cataloging the exits, the mile markers, the exact spot where, in my old life, he'd started whispering doubts about me to his colleagues, planting the seeds of my isolation. His mother, Evelyn, greeted us at the door with her signature hug that smelled of Chanel No. 5 and entitlement, her diamond earrings catching the light like accusations. "Lucia, darling, you look radiant. Marriage suits you." She air-kissed my cheeks, her eyes flicking over me like I was a knockoff purse. Evelyn had never liked me, too bohemian for her blue blood standards, with my freelance graphic design gigs and refusal to join the junior league. In the timeline I'd escaped, she'd been the one to testify at the inquest, swearing I'd been unstable lately, popping pills she claimed I'd hidden in the bathroom cabinet. Lies. All of it. But she'd spun them like holiday tinsel. The brunch spread was a feast of excess: smoked salmon towers, caviar blinis, mimosas in crystal flutes that cost more than my monthly rent. Mark's brother, Theo, was there with his trophy wife, Kendra, both of them nursing hangovers from whatever Hamptons rager they'd hit the night before. Theo clapped Mark on the back, Slurring. Heard about the merger.
Bro.
You're gonna be swimming in it. Kendra shot me a pitying smile, the kind reserved for the help, and I returned it with one of my own, sharp enough to cut glass. As we settled around the table, Evelyn launched into her annual monologue about family legacy, her voice slicing through the clink of silverware. Mark's father built this firm from nothing. You know, blood,
Sweat.
and a few broken bones along the way. She laughed, but her eyes were on me, daring me to forget my place. I sipped my mimosa, the bubbles biting my tongue, and thought about the broken bones, the shady deals I'd uncovered too late in my first life, the bribes to zoning boards, the whistleblower who'd vanished after threatening to talk. Mark's promotion wasn't merit, it was inheritance laced with poison. That's when I saw it, the envelope tucked under Mark's napkin, half hidden but screaming at me from across the table. In my old reality, it had arrived weeks later, but here it was, early like fate's little wink. Sealed with the firm's wax emblem, addressed to him in crisp, anonymous script. My pulse thrummed in my ears as he palmed it discreetly, sliding it into his pocket with a glance my way. Busted?
No.
Not yet. But I knew what it held, the first thread of the web he'd weaved to erase me. A letter from his lover, Sarah, the junior associate with the daddy issues and a penchant for red sols, confirming their weekend in the city. Coded in legalese that only I, with my designer's eye for patterns, had ever decoded. I excused myself to the powder room, the marble vanity cold under my palms as I splashed water on my face. Staring into the mirror, I saw her, the ghost of Lucia past, hollow-eyed and trusting. But this Lucia? She had fire in her veins now. I pulled out my phone, fingers flying over the screen to set up a ghost account on a burner app I'd bookmarked in my mind from the future. One anonymous tip to the firm's ethics hotline. That's all it would take to start the unraveling.
But no.
Too quick. Revenge needed savoring, like the slow roast of a prime rib. Back at the table, I played the doting wife, laughing at Theo's jokes, complimenting Kendra's highlights. Mark leaned in during dessert, whispering, "You okay? You seem distant." His concern was a velvet glove over the iron fist I remembered all too well. Just the holidays. You know, makes me sentimental. I traced his jaw with my fingertip, feeling the faint stubble, and imagined it underwater, drowning in the Hudson. Maybe. Or the pool at his club's annual gala. Dark thoughts. Sure. But they'd kept me alive this long. The drive home was quieter, the snow starting to fall in fat, lazy flakes that stuck to the windshield like unspoken regrets. Mark hummed along to the radio, oblivious, while I mentally mapped the next move, access his email, plant the seeds of doubt with Sarah, turn his allies against him one by one. By New Year's, he'd be questioning his own shadow. And come next Christmas, I'd hand him the gift he'd refused, the exposure of every dirty secret, stamped with my final, unforgiving kiss. As we pulled into our Brooklyn brownstone, the tree lights twinkling through the window like distant stars, I felt the first real thrill of this second life. It wasn't fear anymore, it was power, coiling in my gut like a serpent ready to strike. Mark killed the engine and turned to me, eyes soft in the dashboard glow. "Love you."
Lucha.
The words hung there, rotten fruit on a poison vine. I smiled, leaned in, and whispered back, "Forever." But in my head, the echo was different. "Not if I end you first." The days blurred into a festive frenzy. but I moved through them like a shadow puppeteer, pulling strings only I could see. Christmas Eve dawned crisp and biting, the city alive with the hum of last-minute shoppers and the distant wail of sirens, New York's eternal soundtrack. I woke before Mark, slipping into the kitchen to brew coffee, the scent grounding me as I scrolled through his unsecured laptop. Password? Our anniversary. The fool. Still. Emails flooded the inbox. Client briefs. Golf invites. And there, buried in a subfolder labeled Personal, the thread with Sarah. Started innocently enough. Great meeting today. Drinks to celebrate. But it devolved quick into late-night vents about the ball and chain, me, apparently, and promises of escape. The latest. Time-stamped yesterday. Can't wait for the firm party. Wear that red dress. My stomach twisted, but not with hurt this time, with cold, calculated fury. I forwarded it to my burner, then deleted the trace, leaving no breadcrumb. By noon, I was at the farmer's market in Prospect Park, basket brimming with holly and heirloom apples, the air thick with mulled cider and laughter that felt foreign to my bones. That's when I bumped into Elena, my old studio partner from design school, her arms laden with sketch pads and a toddler on her hip. Lucia. Oh my God. It's been forever. Her hug was genuine.
Warm.
The kind I'd forgotten existed amid Mark's polished chill. We caught up over steaming cups from a vendor cart, her spilling about freelance wins and the divorce from that Wall Street prick who'd drained her dry. You were right about him.
Luce.
Should have listened. Her words stung. In my first life, I'd been too wrapped up in my own fairy tale to warn her properly.
Now?
Hey, if you ever need a collaborator on that book cover project,
Hit me up.
I'm game. She beamed, and for a split second, the weight lifted. Allies. I needed them. More than ever. Back home, Mark was buried in work calls, pacing the living room in his boxers, barking orders at some intern. I watched from the doorway, sipping tea, noting the tension in his shoulders, the merger stress he'd hidden from me before. Everything good? I asked, casual as a summer breeze. He waved it off. Just the usual shark circling. But hey, tonight's our night. Reservations at La Bernardine. Then the tree lighting at Bryant Park. Romance. Mark style. Expense account access to paper over the cracks. I nodded. But my mind was on the real lighting, the one I'd ignite under his ass. While he showered, I rifled through his briefcase, finding the envelope from brunch. Steam it open? Child's play. Inside, not just Sarah's note, but a printout bank statements, transfers to a Cayman account totaling $150,000. My blood ran cold. This wasn't just an affair, it was embezzlement, siphoning firm funds under the guise of consulting fees. And me? I'd been the perfect cover, the trusting wife with no head for numbers. The shower shut off, and I resealed it, heart pounding. Confront him?
No.
Not yet. Instead, I texted my burner alias, a fake PI contact I'd hired for a surprise, to dig deeper. By evening, as we dressed for dinner, me in a slinky green number that hugged my curves like a second skin, I felt the shift. This wasn't survival, it was seduction. Weaponized. Le Bernardine was a symphony of excess. Oysters on ice. Foie gras that melted like sin. And Mark's hand on my knee under the table, his eyes hungry in the candlelight. To us, he toasted, clinking his champagne flute against mine. I mirrored him, the bubbles sharp on my tongue. To surprises, we talked shop, mostly, him boasting about outmaneuvering a rival partner. That smug bastard Reynolds. I filed it away. Leverage. After, we wandered to Bryant Park. The air electric with the crowd's buzz. The massive tree aglow in blues and golds. Snow dusted our shoulders as we stood shoulder to shoulder. His arm around me, pretending at perfection. A street violinist played Silent Night, and for a heartbeat, I let myself remember the good parts, the early days. When his laugh was real. When we danced in the kitchen to bad 80s tunes. But memory is a thief, stealing your edge. I pulled away gently. Bathroom lines killer. Meet you by the ice rink. He kissed my forehead. Don't be long. As I wove through the throng, I spotted her, Sarah, across the square, laughing with colleagues. Her red coat a slash of betrayal. Our eyes met, and she froze, recognition flickering before she looked away.
Game on.
In the shadows of the ladies' room, I fired off the first anonymous email to Reynolds. Ask Mark about the Caymans. Follow the money. Attach. Screenshot of the statements. Blurred just enough to tease.
Send.
The whoosh was music. Back with Mark. I slipped into his side, the cold seeping through my coat. Missed you, he murmured, nuzzling my neck. I shivered, not from chill, but the thrill of the first domino tipping. As fireworks cracked overhead, painting the sky in explosive color, I whispered into the night. This is just the beginning. Christmas Day broke with forced cheer. The brownstone wrapped in the hush of fresh snow. Mark groaned awake to the smell of cinnamon rolls baking, my peace offering, laced with nothing but domestic bliss. Best wife ever, he mumbled, pulling me down for a lazy kiss that tasted of mint and mornings. I let him, body responding on autopilot while my brain tallied the hits. Email sent. Seed planted.
Now.
Watch it grow. We exchanged gifts by the tree, paper crinkling like conspiracies unfolding. His to me, a diamond tennis bracelet, flashy and forgettable, the kind that screams, "Sorry I forgot your birthday again." For the woman who deserves the world, he said, clasping it around my wrist. It pinched, cold metal biting skin, and I smiled through gritted teeth. It's perfect. Your turn. Mine to him was innocuous, a monogrammed leather portfolio, embossed with his initials in gold foil. Inside, a note. For all the deals you'll close.
Love. Luce.
He grinned, oblivious to the tracker I'd sewn into the lining. A tiny GPS chip from an online spy shop, invisible as his lies. Every meeting, every rendezvous with Sarah, I'd know. The afternoon dragged us to Evelyn's for round 2, turkey dinner with all the trimmings. Theo 3 sheets to the wind, Kendra scrolling Instagram under the table. Conversation veered to family gossip, Uncle Walt's latest DUI, Cousin Becca's messy divorce, and I played along. The dutiful daughter-in-law, refilling wine glasses with a smile that didn't reach my eyes. But under the lace tablecloth, my phone buzzed. Burner alert. Reynolds had replied to my ghost tip, forwarding a chain where Mark's name popped in red flags. What the hell is this? The subject line screamed. I stifled a smirk, passing the mashed potatoes. Evelyn caught my eye, her Botox-smooth forehead creasing. Something amusing. Lucia? Just thinking about how traditions keep us grounded, I replied, voice honeyed. She hummed, unconvinced, and steered talk to the firm. Mark's poised for greatness. That merger. It's the crown jewel. Mark beamed, squeezing my hand under the table. Couldn't do it without my rock. Lies layered like the gravy on my plate. As pie was served, pumpkin, spiked with bourbon that burned going down, I excused myself to the study, locking the door for a quick check. The tracker's app pinged. Mark's briefcase, left in the car, unmoving. But a new email on his account. I'd looped in a mirror forwarder Sarah. Frantic. Heard rumors. Reynolds sniffing around. We need to talk. Tonight. My laugh echoed off the bookshelves, low and bitter. Hook. Line. Sinker. The evening wound down with toasts and tired hugs. Evelyn pressing leftovers into Tupperware like ammunition. On the drive back, Mark was quiet, thumb drumming the wheel, a tell from our first life, when stress gnawed at him. Rough day at the office before we left. I probed. Innocent. He shrugged. Nothing I can't handle.
Just.
Politics. I nodded, sympathetic, while inside, victory tasted like the bourbon still warming my veins. Home again. We crashed early. The cities hum a lullaby through the frost-laced windows. But sleep evaded me. Mind racing with Phase 2, befriend the enemy. Tomorrow, I'd accidentally run into Sarah at the gym. Drop hints of suspicion. Let paranoia do the rest. Mark snored beside me, peaceful as a lamb, and I traced the line of his spine with my eyes, imagining the knife I'd plunge, not literal.
No.
But metaphorical, twisting slow. Midnight tolls brought a text from Elena. Coffee tomorrow? Need your eye on these mocks. Perfect cover. As the clock struck 12, I slipped from bed, padding to the living room where the tree lights pulsed like a heartbeat. I unwrapped one of my own gifts to myself, a slim recorder pen, disguised as a festive ornament.
Click.
Log 1. I whispered into it, voice steady. The unraveling begins. For every tear I cried, every lie I swallowed, he'll pay double. Outside, snow fell thicker, blanketing the brownstone in white silence. This Christmas wasn't redemption, it was reckoning. And I was the ghost come calling, bells tolling for the dead. File 1 end, word count, 1002. The week between Christmas and New Year's was a pressure cooker of parties and pretense. New York's social whirl spinning like a carousel from hell. I glided through it all, arm looped in Mark's, my laugh a weapon honed sharp. The firm holiday gala at the plaza was first, black tie, champagne towers, and enough backroom deals to fund a small coup. Mark schmoozed like a pro, his hand firm on the small of my back, guiding me through clusters of power suits and pearl-clutching wives. Sarah was there, of course, in that red dress he'd begged for, silk clinging like a second skin. She avoided my gaze at first, but I cornered her by the dessert table, fork spearing a chocolate-dipped strawberry with surgical precision. You look stunning, I said, voice all honey and hemlock. Mark mentioned you're gunning for that associate spot. Deserve it, you're a shark in Louboutins. Her cheeks flushed, eyes darting to where Mark chatted with Reynolds across the room. Thanks, Lucia.
You're sweet.
How's married life? Fishing? The little minx. I leaned in, breath warm against her ear. Blissful. Though, he does get these late nights. Stressful merger. You know. Her smile faltered. Just a twitch. But I saw it, the crack in the facade.
Yeah.
Stressful. I excused myself with a wink, weaving to the bar for a gin and tonic, the ice clinking like shackles. Reynolds caught my eye then, nodding politely. In my old life, he'd been a family friend, sent condolences with a check that bounced. Ironic.
That. Now?
He was my unwitting knight. Mrs. Hargrove, he drawled, southern charm masking the steel. Heard you're the creative force behind those ad campaigns. Flattery. But I played along. Guilty. And you? Holding the fort against the wolves. He chuckled, but his eyes were sharp. Wolves. Indeed. Your husband's a force, ambitious.
Pause.
Almost too much. Sometimes. Bingo. I sipped, letting silence stretch. Ambition's a double-edged sword. Cuts deep if you're not careful. He filed that away. I could tell. And as Mark joined us, clapping Reynolds on the shoulder a tad too hard, I melted back into the crowd, the gin burning a path to my resolve. Later, in the cab home, Mark's head lolled on my shoulder, buzzed from too many scotches. You are a hit tonight, he slurred, fingers fumbling my zipper. I guided his hand away gently. Tired,
Babe.
rain check. He pouted but relented, and as the city lights streaked by, I checked the tracker. His briefcase had pinged at a midtown hotel earlier that week. Sarah's office building. Proof in pixels. New Year's Eve dawned hungover and hazy, but I was up at dawn, pounding the pavement in yoga pants and resolve. The gym was my hunting ground, Sarah's routine, etched in my memory from hacked calendars past. She was there, on the treadmill, ponytail swinging like a metronome of guilt. I hopped on beside her, feigning surprise. Fancy meeting you here. Mind if I steal the pace? We ran in sync, sweat mingling with small talk, workouts, resolutions, the usual. Then, casual as a cool-down stretch, Mark's been so distracted lately. You notice? Merger blues. I guess. She stumbled. Machine beeping protest.
Yeah. He's
Intense. I nodded, wiping my brow. Intense is one word. Secretive's another. Found some weird emails, nothing major. Just. Cayman Islands? Tax stuff. Right? Her face drained of color. And she jabbed the stop button.
gotta shower.
See you. As she bolted, I lingered, heart racing not from the run, but the rush. Paranoia was a virus. I just patient zeroed it into her bloodstream. The countdown party that night was at Theo and Kendra's loft in Soho, exposed brick, skyline views, and a guest list of trust fund vampires sucking the fun out of every toast. Mark arrived late. Ty Askew, claiming traffic. But the tracker whispered otherwise, a detour to that same hotel. I greeted him with a kiss that lingered too long, tasting the lie on his tongue, whiskey and her perfume.
Faint but there.
The ball dropped at midnight, confetti raining like false hopes. And as Auld Lang Syne warbled from hidden speakers, Mark pulled me close. This year's ours.
Luce.
Big things coming. I clinked my flute against his, the crystals singing. To big things. But my eyes were on Sarah, across the room, whispering furiously into her phone, her gaze flicking our way like a cornered animal. January hit like a slap, the holiday glow fading into gray commutes and cabin fever. Mark dove headfirst into the merger, home late with excuses that grew thinner than his patience. I used the time wisely, reviving my design side hustle, pitching logos to startups via Elena's network, building a nest egg he couldn't touch. Cash was freedom, after all. One snow-swept Tuesday, the burner buzzed, Reynolds to my ghost PI. Confirming leads. Hargroves dipping into escrow. Need hard proof. I forwarded Sarah's emails, anonymized, and attached hotel receipts from public records I'd pulled. The web tightened. That night, Mark stormed in, face thunderous, slamming his briefcase on the counter. Fucking Reynolds. Accusing me of bullshit, says there's discrepancies in the books. He poured a scotch.
Neat.
Gulping it like antidote. I approached slow, hands on his shoulders, kneading tension. What kind of discrepancies? Feigned concern. Oscar-worthy. He waved it off. Sloppy accounting. Nothing I can't fix. But his eyes darting. Guilty betrayed him. I pressed closer, lips brushing his ear. You're the best,
Babe.
they'll see that. He relaxed into me, but as we tumbled to the couch, clothes shedding like old skin, I wondered if he'd sense the detachment, the way I performed without passion. It was mechanical, a means to an end, keeping him off balance, blind to the blade at his throat. February brought Valentine's, a minefield of red roses and regret. Mark surprised me with weekend tickets to Aspen, romance redux. Or so he thought. I packed light, slipping the recorder into my purse, and the tracker synced to my phone. The flight was turbulence-free, but the lodge? Powdered paradise masking marital rot. We skied black diamonds, him showing off, me gliding graceful, skills from a life unscarred. Evenings by the fire, mulled wine warming our bones, and for a night, I almost forgot. Almost. Then his phone lit up, Sarah. Emergency. Call me. He stepped out for fresh air, returning flushed, evasive. The next morning, over coffee with a view of endless white, I dropped the bomb softly. Saw your text last night. Everything okay at work? His fork paused midair. Eggs Benedict forgotten.
Yeah.
Just. Client freakout.
Lie.
I nodded, buttering toast. If it's the merger stuff, maybe talk to Evelyn? She's got that old school wisdom. Planting more seeds, let Mama Bear sniff the blood. Back in the city, the thaw brought leaks, first from Sarah, who cornered me at a coffee run. Lucia. Has Mark said anything about?
Finance.
Her voice cracked, mascara smudged from what looked like tears. I blinked. Innocent.
Finance?
Like ours?
No.
Why? She hesitated, then spilled a watered-down version of the affair, framing it as emotional support during stress. He's not himself. And the money? I think someone's setting him up.
Oh.
The irony. I hugged her.
Fierce.
Sounds awful. You need a friend in this. She nodded, desperate. And just like that, my Trojan horse was inside the gates. By March, the merger teetered, whispers turning to shouts in boardrooms Mark thought were his kingdom. He came home unraveling, snapping at dinner, pacing nights away. I played therapist, soothing with wine and wisdom, all while feeding intel to Reynolds via proxies. The tracker? It mapped a pattern. Weekly meetings at that hotel. Now frantic, laced with arguments captured in lobby cams I'd anonymously tipped to a PI blog. Elena's collaboration gig bloomed into steady work, my portfolio swelling with bold designs that screamed independence. One night, sketching at the kitchen island, Mark loomed behind me. "This side hustle, it's cute, but the firm's about to make us millionaires." "Why bother?" His tone, paternal, pissed me off. I turned, smile steel. "Because I like it. And, who knows, might out-earn you one day." He laughed. But it was hollow. The first real fracture in his armor. April showers brought audits, internal, then federal. The Cayman's account froze overnight, courtesy of a whistleblower tip I'd routed through a journalist contact from Elena's circle. Mark's world cracked, suspended pending investigation. Sarah ghosting him, Reynolds gunning for his throat. He turned to me, wild-eyed.
Luce.
"They think I stole."
Me.
After everything I've built. I held him as he broke, sobs racking his frame. But inside, triumph, bitter as black coffee. "We'll fight it," I murmured, stroking his hair. Together.
Lies.
Sweet as pie. As spring bloomed, so did my exit plan. Divorce papers drafted in secret. Assets shifted to my name via prenup loopholes I'd memorized. But revenge wasn't done simmering. May's heat wave coincided with the firm's implosion, embezzlement charges filed. Mark's name splashed across the post like tabloid confetti. Evelyn called. Voice venom. "What did you do?" "This is your fault. Pushing him too hard."
Me.
I was the villain now. I hung up, blocking the number, and toasted myself with Chardonnay on our my balcony. The city sprawling like a conquered empire. June brought the plea deal. Reduced sentence for cooperation. Naming names. Sarah flipped first. Then Theo. Even Evelyn's impeccable connections crumbled. Mark's arraignment was a circus. Paparazzi flashes blinding as cuffs clicked. He looked at me from the dock. Eyes pleading.
Luce.
I met them cool. The bracelet he'd given me glinting as I turned away. Refused. Summer sweltered on. My new life unfurling. Solo apartment in Williamsburg. Designs selling to galleries. Elena as best friend and business partner. But the ghost lingered, nights when the old hurt surfaced. When I'd wake gasping. The kitchen floor cold under me again. One August dusk. A letter arrived, postmarked from Rikers. Mark's scrawl shaky. "I know what I did. Forgive me." I held it over the flame, watching it curl to ash. The smoke rising like absolution denied. Fall leaves turned, and with them, my resolve hardened. The final twist? A call from an unknown number, Sarah. Voice small. He confessed everything. The heater. It was him. To frame you, make it look like suicide. Insurance. The house. All for us.
Us.
The affair's rotten core. I laughed.
Low.
Thanks for the gift wrap. Hung up. The surprise inside? My survival. Stamped unbreakable. Autumn deepened. The city shedding its green skin for golds and crimsons that mirrored the fire in my veins. By October, Mark's trial was the talk of Manhattan's watering holes, white-collar scandal with a holiday hook. The Christmas crook they dubbed him in the tabloids. I avoided the coverage. But Elena shoved headlines under my nose over pumpkin lattes. "Girl, you're free. Celebrate."
Free.
The word tasted like freedom and fallout. Equal parts. My designs exploded. A viral campaign for a women's shelter. Bold lines, screaming empowerment, netting me a TEDx invite and a book deal whisper. But success was a jealous lover. It demanded I confront the voids he'd left. Thanksgiving loomed. A solo affair at first, turkey for one, Netflix binge. The works. But Elena dragged me to her family's spread in Queens. A chaotic riot of Italian aunts and zero pretension. Her nana pinched my cheeks, declaring, "You too skinny, manja." And for the first time in years, laughter felt real, bubbling unforced. No silver platters. No veiled barbs, just gravy stains and stories swapped like currency. Mark's appeals dragged into December, his letters piling up, returned unopened. Evelyn tried once, showing at my studio with a poinsettia and crocodile tears. He's broken. Lucia. Family sticks. I met her at the door, coffee in hand, the bracelet long pawned. Family, yours taught him to steal souls.
Get off my step.
She left in a huff, heels clicking judgment, but the power?
Mine.
Christmas Eve crept up, snow blanketing Brooklyn in hush. I decked the new place solo, fairy lights strung haphazard, ornaments from thrift dives, a tree small but fierce. No space heater in sight. I'd burned the old one in a backyard bonfire months back, watching flames lick the betrayal away. The knock came at dusk, sharp as a stiletto. I opened to Theo, disheveled, eyes bloodshot, Kendra's absence screaming louder than his plea.
Luce, please.
He's asking for you. One visit.
Theo.
The enabler, who'd covered for Mark's business trips with winks and whiskeys. I crossed my arms, blocking the threshold.
Why?
So he can spin more tales. He shifted, snow melting on his boots. Redemption. Or closure. Your call. Closure. The word dangled like mistletoe.
Poisonous.
But curiosity, that old cat killer, nudged me.
Fine.
But on my terms. The prison visit was a sterile limbo, fluorescent buzz, plexiglass divide. The phone's cold weight in my palm. Mark looked hollowed, orange jumpsuit swallowing his frame. Stubble silvered with stress. Loose, he breathed, pressing the receiver like a lifeline. You came. I sat straight, voice even. Not for you. For me. Say your piece. He spilled then, torrent of remorse, the affair born of merger madness. The money a temporary fix, the heater a panic-fueled accident gone wrong. I never meant. God. The blood on the floor. I see it every night. Lies layered thin. Accident. I leaned in, eyes locking his through the glass. You watched me choke. Called 911 after the fact. To play hero. And the pills Evelyn found? Planted. His face crumpled. Denial dying on his lips. How? Ghosts talk. I hung up then, leaving him mouthing pleas to dead air.
Outside.
The cold slapped sense into me, no more chains. New Year's found me at Elena's again. Countdown with strangers turned friends, the ball dropping amid cheers that drowned old echoes. Resolutions? Simple. Thrive. Not just survive. Spring 2026 bloomed with verdant vengeance, my book launch at a Soho gallery. Unwrapped, designs from the edge, a manifesto in ink and image. Sarah showed, uninvited, clutching a dog-eared copy.
I
owed you this. Apology? Or absolution? I signed it crisp. To fresh starts, Lucia. She left lighter. I felt nothing. Mark's sentencing came in June, 10 years. Minimum security for good behavior. Evelyn boycotted. But Theo sent a card. He's owning it. Thanks for the nudge. Nudge. My unraveling. Reduced to a pat on the back. Summer sizzled. My life a canvas repainted bold. Travels with Elena to the Berkshires. A fling with a sculptor whose hands knew clay and curves. Designs gracing billboards from LA to London. But September brought the twist, the letter from an attorney. Not Mark's. Dear MS. Hargrove, Vasquez. It read. My maiden name reclaimed. Per Mr. Reynolds' bequest. Bequest? Reynolds. Dead of a heart attack. Leaving me 20% of the firm, quiet stock. Untraceable. A fortune in shadows.
Why?
A note tucked in. You tipped the scales. Justice deserves its cut.
R.
The windfall? I funneled it into a foundation. Refuse no more. Aiding women escaping betrayals grip. Legal aid. Therapy. Design scholarships. Irony? Mark's empire. Funding his victims. Fall deepened. Leaves crunching underfoot as I walked the high line. City lights winking conspiracy. A year back. And the old Lucia felt like myth, choked out. Reborn. Christmas Eve 2026. I hosted Elena's crew at my place, tree aglow. Table groaning with tamales and tiramisu. Laughter echoing off exposed beams. No ghosts this year, just presents, warm and willing. Midnight. As carols faded, my phone pinged, a news alert. Mark. Granted early parole for model behavior. Free in months. The old fury flickered, but I doused it with wine, toasting the room. To surprises.
Outside.
Snow fell soft, blanketing sins. I'd prepared. Of course, restraining orders, new locks, a PI on retainer. But deep down, I hoped he'd stay caged, rotting in regret. The knock came anyway. Pre-dawn Christmas. Insistent. I peered through the peephole. Mark. Gaunt in a parka. Eyes haunted.
Luce.
Please. Just hear me. Heart hammering. I cracked the door. Chain taut. Refused. He pressed a package forward, small, wrapped in newsprint. Stamped, return to sender in faded ink. Open it.
It's
Everything. Curiosity won. Chain rattling free. Inside, documents, confessions, asset transfers. A deed to the brownstone. Cleansed of liens. And a letter. His script steady. I returned your gift, the life I stole. Take it back. I'm sorry doesn't cut it, but this does. Don't look for me. He was gone by the time I looked up. Footprints fading in the snow. Vanished Canada. Maybe. Or some hole he'd dig fresh. I stood there. Package in arms. The city stirring awake. Surprise indeed. Not vengeance's end, but a pivot his surrender. My sovereignty. Elena found me at dawn. Coffee brewing. Paper spread like a map to tomorrow. What the hell? She scanned, whistled low. You win.
when?
Or stalemate. I shrugged, pouring mugs. It's a start. As the tree lights danced, I felt it, peace, tentative as first light. The gift, unopened too long, finally revealed me,
Whole.
stamped accepted.
No.
That wasn't the end. Twists.
Remember?
They burrow like roots, twisting deeper when you think you've pruned them clean. January 2027 hit with a vengeance, freezing rains that mirrored the chill seeping back into my bones. The foundation thrived, refused no more ribbon cuttings and galas filling my calendar. But sleep? Elusive. Haunted by what-ifs. What if Mark's vanishing was prelude, not postscript? Elena noticed first. Over dim sum in Chinatown. You're jumpy.
Luce.
Like you're waiting for the other shoe to drop. I waved it off, work stress. Donor drama, but she pressed. Eyes sharp as her red chopsticks. It's him. Isn't it? The Ghost X. I nodded. Reluctant. Spilling the parole alert. The package. The footprints in snow. She set her bowl down.
Fierce.
Then, let's exercise. PI time, find him. End this. The PI was a grizzled vet named Carla. Ex-NYPD, with a Brooklyn bark and a nose for bullshit. Hargrove's slippery, she grunted over burner coffee in my kitchen. But slippery leaves trails. Gimme a week. A week, turned 2. Then stalled, false leads to Toronto motels. A sighting in Buffalo dive bars. Nothing stuck. February's frost brought Elena's bombshell. Pregnant. Solo. Beaming over ultrasound grain. Your god kid.
Luce.
Anti-duties start now.
Joy.
Pure. A tether to future. Not past. We planned nursery murals. My sketches whimsical beasts guarding tiny dreams. It grounded me. This life blooming beside mine. But March cracked open old wounds. A donor gala at the Met, gowns swirling like conspiracies, champagne flutes clinking toasts to empowerment. I networked smooth, black sheath-hugging curves reclaimed through yoga and spite. Then, across the frick wing, a face from the ashes. Kendra, Theo's ex. Now solo and sharp-edged, nursing a martini. Lucia, she purred, air-kissing cheeks. Heard you built an empire on ruins. Respect. Venom in velvet. We chatted surface, her wellness blog. My foundation, but her eyes gleamed sly. Theo's a mess. You know. Blames you for Mark's fall. I arched a brow. Theo covered for him. Karma's a bitch. She laughed. Low. Karma?
Or you.
Word is, you played puppet master. Accusation hung. And I felt the room tilt. Paranoia. My old friend. Jealous. I shot back. Or just stirring? She shrugged, gliding away. But the seed?
Planted.
That night. Home alone. The package from Mark taunted from the shelf. Deed pristine. Confession crisp. I rifled it again. Finding what I'd missed, a photo tucked in the deed's fold.
Us.
Early days. Central Park, picnic. My head on his shoulder. Sun-dappled and stupid happy. Scribbled back. This was real. Forgive the man who lost it. Tears pricked, rage or regret.
Both.
April showers unearthed Carla's breakthrough. Mark in Portland. Maine low-profile gig at a bait shop. Alias Mike Harlan, shacked up with a widow twice his age. Harmless, she reported. Church on Sundays. AA meetings Tuesdays. Paying penance. Looks like. I paid her off. Files burning digital holes. But didn't pull the trigger. Let him stew. May bloomed with Elena's baby shower. Pastel chaos in her garden. Me emceeing games with a mic and mischief. But midway, a delivery, unmarked box. Postmark Maine. Inside, a locket mine. Lost years back, engraved forever inside, with our initials. No note. My hands shook opening it, chain cold as betrayals echo. Elena found me on the porch. Locket clutched. Him again? I nodded, throat tight. Pushing buttons. She hugged fierce. Then pushed back. Or let go. Let go. Easier preached than practiced. June's heat wave coincided with a foundation milestone, $1 million grant, announced at a presser in Bryant Park. Cameras flashed. I spoke steady, from refused to reclaimed, voice carrying over the crowd. Mark watched. I knew. A tip from Carla placed him in the throng, incognito in ball cap and shades, expression unreadable from afar. After, as confetti swirled, he approached slow, hands visible, no sudden moves.
Luce.
Voice rough, Maine winters grinding the polish off. Security hovered. I waved them back. What now? Mike. He winced at the alias. Just.
Congrats.
You deserve it.
Pause.
Eyes tracing my face like lost map. The locket, found it cleaning. Thought you'd want it back.
Lie?
Or olive branch. I dangled it between us. Silver glinting accusation. Want?
No.
But it's mine. He nodded. Shifting. I'm trying. Therapy. Immense. Evelyn cut me off. Theo won't speak.
Sarah.
Well. Bitter laugh. Karma. I studied him, hollow cheeks, eyes clear but shadowed. The monster I'd painted? Faded to man. Flawed and fraying. Trying's not enough, I said, voice low. You killed us. Me. His jaw worked. I know. That's why I'm here, not to beg, but to say, live. Don't let me haunt. He turned then, melting into the crowd, leaving the air heavier. July 4th exploded in fireworks and freedom, me at a rooftop bash. Elena's bump dancing slow with her partner, a quiet engineer named Raj. Sparks literal and figurative. But mine? Internal. The locket buried in a drawer. Not worn. August whispered closure. Carla's final report. Mark relocated to Alaska. Seasonal fishing. Off-grid. Vanishing act complete. I closed the file. Deleted the app. Ghosts vanished. September's equinox brought harvest. Book sequel greenlit. Foundation expanding to LA. But October's chill carried Kendra's return email.
Terse.
Meet. Clarity's sake. Coffee at a neutral midtown spot. Her across the Formica. No polish left. Theo killed himself, she said flat. Stirring sugar into black.
June.
Pills. Blamed Mark. You, everyone but the mirror. Shock punched Theo. The Joker.
Gone.
Why tell me?
She met my eyes.
Steel on steel. Because you started it. The tips. The leaks, Theo confessed before. He was in on the money skim. Covering for Mark. You exposed him too. Guilt crashed. Title. I didn't know.
Lie?
Half. I'd suspected enablers. But not depths. Kendra shrugged. No one's innocent. But his note? Tell loose. Sorry for the gift that kept giving. She slid a photo across Theo's last. Wrist slashed in a tub. Face slack. I pushed it back. Bile rising. Enough. She left. And I sat. Storm raging internal. My revenge, collateral carnage. Theo's blood. On my hands, November's gray brought therapy mine. First session in a village walk-up. Spilling timelines to a doc named Miriam.
眾星依足嘅
Mangling the word from a podcast. Second chance. Right? She nodded. Probing gentle. And the cost. Elena whelped in December, tiny Sophia. Squalling fierce. Handed to me first. Your turn to hold the line, Elena whispered. Exhausted bliss. I cradled her. Heart cracking open, fragile.
Fierce.
Mark's shadow? Fading. Christmas Eve. Alone with takeout and tinsel. The knock echoed old ghosts. But it was Raj, Elena's brother-in-law?
No.
Elena's +1's brother. A chef with dimples and doubt. Heard you might need company. Wary. But I let him in. Sharing pie and stories. Laughter tentative. Midnight. As snow tapped the pane, he asked about the locket on the tree. Ornament now. Repurposed. Ex's ghost. I nodded. Busted. But it's just metal. He smiled soft.
Metal bends.
People? Weary forge. New Year's dawned with promise. Sophia's coups. Designs in MoMA's gift shop. Foundation's West Coast launch. Mark, a rumor from Carla, settled in Juneau. Teaching kids to fish. Amends in action. The final surprise? Spring 2028. A card postmarked Alaska. Heard about the baby grant program. Donated anonymous. My cut from the widow's settlement. Merry Christmas.
Late.
Keep refusing nothing. I burned it. Ashes to wind. Not forgiveness, acknowledgement. The gift returned. Opened at last. A life reclaimed. Scars and all. But wait, the real twist. The one that lingered like smoke. In therapy's depths. Miriam unearthed it. My accident wasn't Soul Mark's design. Evelyn. Complicit, the pills her prescription. Forged sig. Mother-in-law's mercy kill. She confessed in a letter I'd intercepted years back. Buried in files.
Confront? No.
I forwarded to the DA. Anonymous once more. Her arrest hit headlines. Blue blood burglar. Trial swift. Sentence served in white-collar white.
Kendra?
Testified. Deal struck. Now foundation board. Redemption's edge.
Me?
By summer's end. Raj's hand in mine at a beach bonfire. Sophia toddling sands. Elena toasting to unopened surprises. The circle closed. Not with a bang, but a breath. Exhale long held. Trung Sin wasn't just return, it was rewrite. And mine? Masterpiece. Ink still wet. 2 years blurred into a tapestry of triumphs and tender spots. The kind that scar, but don't show. By 2030, Refuse No More spanned coasts. A beacon for the betrayed, legal clinics in Atlanta. Art therapy hubs in Seattle. My design's the thread weaving it bold. Elena's clan grew, Sophia in preschool smocks. Another bump brewing, and Raj? He's stuck. Patient as tides. Our nights a slow dance from friends to flame. Mark's shadow? Faint as fog off Maine. Reports sporadic, community college adjunct. Teaching ethics, ironies bite. A girlfriend who baked sourdough and asked no questions. I didn't dig. Closure was choosing not to chase. Evelyn's trial was the spectacle, summer scorcher. Courtroom a pressure cooker of pedigreed panic. She took the stand in Chanel. Voice quavering Oscar reel. I acted to protect family legacy. Lucia was unstable. Lies. Laced with lithium calm from jailhouse shrinks. But evidence mounted. Text to Mark urging the fix. Pharmacy logs tying her script to my suicide stash. The DA painted her Viper maternal. Jury bought it wholesale. 15 years. No parole whispers. Kendra's testimony sealed it, tear-streaked. She detailed Evelyn's loans to Theo's habits. The web's sticky heart. Post-trial. She cornered me in the hall. Handshake firm. Debt paid. I eyed her. Weighing. Start fresh, board seat. If you earn it. She nodded. Steel softening.
Deal.
Fall's harvest brought my TED Talk, unwrapping betrayal, from victim to visionary, standing ovation echoing like vindication. Backstage. Raj waited. Roses in fist. Grin crooked. Proud doesn't cover it. We jetted to Napa post-glow. Vineyard tour turning proposal under star-pricked sky. Ring simple, emerald. My birthstone, vow whispered. To surprises we choose. Wedding was small, Brooklyn loft. Elena officiating in jest. Sophia flower girl tripping petals. No exes. No ghosts. Just vows traded over cake. Laughter loud. Spring 2031 gifted pregnancy mine. Surprise pink lines on a stick. Raj's whoop echoed the brownstone I'd reclaimed. Now Foundation HQ. Walls alive with survivor murals. But twists? They lurk in quiet corners. June's ultrasound revealed twins, boy and girl. Heartbeats duet.
Joy.
Yes. But echo. Mark's genes? No, but the what-if stirred. Old fears of legacy's curse. Carla called then. Retired but nosy. Hargrove's sick. Cancer. Stage 4. Asking about you.
Pause.
Through me?
Nah.
But words he wrote a book, memoir. Self-pubbed. Refused redemption. Donated proceeds to your foundation. I bought it incognito. Pages flipping nights, when kicks kept me wakeful. His words, raw. Unflinching, affairs ache. Greed's grip. My death's horror haunting. Lucia died, choking on trust one poisoned. I live choking on regret. No pleas. Just penance penned. Raj found me dawnlit. Book splayed. Read it. I nodded. Handing it over. He skimmed. Brow furrow. Heavy. Burn it.
Tempting.
Instead, donate. Let it help. Labor hit Labor Day. Twins arriving storm-swept. Boy first, Luca. Nod to roots. Girl trailing, aria. Song of survival. Hospital haze. Raja's hand anchor. Elena's tears mirror. October brought Evelyn's appeal denial. News clip I skipped. But Kendra forwarded with note. Justice served cold. Board vote next week. I greenlit. Her wellness angle fitting, trauma yoga for clients. Winter whispered Mark's end. Obit in Portland paper. Quiet. Michael Harlan. 48. Succumbed peacefully. No services. Ashes to sea per his will. A check arrived weeks later. Estate remnants. To the foundation. Memo. For the surprises I couldn't give. I framed the stub. Not sentiment. But symbol. Refusal reversed. By 2032. Twins toddled chaos. My book trilogy capped bestseller. Raja's restaurant venture Michelin-starred. Elena's third, a boy. Nico, completed the village raising us. One Christmas Eve. Snow soft as memory. I gathered the crew. Raj stoking fire. Kids stacking blocks. Elena nursing Nico. The locket? Worn now. By Aria. Teething toy turned talisman. A knock, late. Improbable. Door cracked to Carla. Graying but grinning. Envelope in glove. Final delivery. From Harlan's Effects. Inside, a sketch, my design. Early one-eyed gifted mark. Now framed in driftwood. Back. You created beauty from blank. Keep creating. M. Tears then. Hot and healing. Not for him, for the girl who died. The woman reborn. Raj wrapped arms around. Chin on shoulder. Surprise? I laughed, folding the note. The best kind. As carols crooned, lights twinkled. I exhaled, trunks incomplete. Not ending, but ever unfolding. Gift accepted. Surprise revealed. Life stamped mine.